stomach growling.
Now she wants to do the 17th because we're on for Veterans Day.
Good evening, everyone. The 556th meeting of the Planning Board of the Village of Depew will come to order. Could we have a roll call, please?
Member Agnew.
Here.
Member Fedorovich.
Present.
Member Matuzek.
Here.
Member Moravsky.
Here.
And Chairman Maciejewski.
Here. Would everybody please rise for the pledge? Pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America
and to the republic for which it stands, one nation,
under God,
indivisible, with
liberty and justice for all.
We have notification of emergency exits, please.
The emergency exits are located to my left and to the rear of the room. In the event of an alarm or emergency, please move in an orderly fashion to the exits and evacuate the building.
Thank you. We have 3 items on the agenda for tonight. The first one is for the property located at 6120 Transit Road. Could we have the legal notice, please?
Please take notice that the Village of Depew Planning Board will hold a hearing on Thursday, October 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. Pre-board meeting begins at 6:30 p.m. in the conference room in the council chambers of the municipal building, 85 Manitow Street, Depew, New York, to consider the application for submission by Nathan Griffith on behalf of Don's Welding for the property located at 6120 Transit Road, Depew, New York, 14043. The following matters to be reviewed. They are requesting the following: to subdivide parcel 6120 Transit Road as per Chapter 260, subset 26010C, and combine the split with 6100 Transit Road for proposed expanded storage area to address stormwater management. Any and all persons interested in such application will be heard at this time.
Okay. So you're representing the project. For the record, if you could come up, state your name and your relationship to the project, please.
Nathan Griffiths. I'm President and CEO of Don's Welding. My uncle and father actually own the LLC, which owns the property, but it's a triple net, so it technically falls on me to do all the projects. So.
Nathan, if you could give the board just an overview of what you're looking to do.
Basically, so we own both properties. Just trying to expand the current property into the secondary property, just so I can move some of my stuff over, customer stuff, trailers, tractor trailers, anything I'm working on. We're getting busier and busier and just kind of running out of space. Then in the winter time, people want to store boats, RVs, stuff like that. But it's mainly just for my stuff and current things I'm working on, just to get some more space, basically.
Okay, I know we talked the other day, and something has come up in the meantime with that state approval. Sam, you want to talk about the seeker a little bit?
Sure. So I'm village attorney Sam Alba. My understanding is you're waiting on state approval regarding stormwater. With that, I think what the state says could impact the state environmental quality review application you have before us. And if that changes, it could invalidate any approval tonight.
Sure.
So the safest thing for you to do, and I can't advise you or tell you what to do, but I can say if the state changes the stormwater pattern or other things like that, such that it impacts the seeker we approve tonight, it would invalidate everything we do.
Sure.
So it might be wise to wait until you have all the information you need from the state.
Sure.
So are you formally asking us to table the matter to another date, to adjourn it to another date to decide it?
So, talking with Shutt, WM Shutt, I think her name's Catherine Poudry from the state. It was kind of, the original thing is they weren't going to review it because the two parcels weren't one, let's call it. So there was the whole easement right away with the drainage. And then she said, well, it was a back and forth. So it was like, well, I'm just going to submit the paperwork and see what you guys say. And I'm still waiting for them. Obviously, they take a little bit longer than I was expecting. I guess they haven't gotten the paperwork done by today. So it's just kind of a formal, informal to see where I stood. I wasn't really sure. They never said anything of that on the state side. So
So you're asking more for a concept tonight?
Yeah, I just, you know, if it's, I guess, to me, is, I don't know, like, if the whole thing isn't approved on this side,
That's what the
then I
state
guess
is.
there's no sense in
I don't
them
think we can
keeping
do it
it on the
without
stormwater
seeker.
side. And then on her side, it was, well, if it wasn't approved on your side, they're not gonna review the stormwater. So it was, I'm kind of in between who's gonna say, you know, it's,
So can he ask for a concept for tonight to see how everyone feels about this pending the outcome?
I think he can ask for a concept. I don't think we can combine the parcels without doing a seeker. And I don't think we should do a seeker until we know what the state's gonna say about stormwater. But if concept approval would help you get a quicker answer from the state, I'm sure that the board would entertain that.
There was a couple of things that the board had, we talked about a couple of them that day that I was there. Obviously, you are cleaning up the property, and the board would like to do that. And also, code enforcement has gotten some feedback from the neighbors about wanting that fence that butts up to Donna Court.
Privacy fence.
6-foot privacy fence. So that is something that this board's going to look at. Questions from the board?
We do have to bring up the issue with the zoning setback in the one corner.
Yeah, I was going to have Terry do that under his report.
Okay.
Questions from the board members?
None.
Thing? Sam, legal?
Nothing from me other than what I've already said.
Code enforcement? Don, Kate?
We're good as long as we, you know, we're good with the privacy fence going up in the back. And then obviously whatever Terry talks to him about for the setback for the zoning.
Right.
The R1 corner.
Very good. Engineering, Terry?
Yep, the setback, Terry Boyle from Nuss, Palmer and Clark, the village engineer. So yeah, you have a setback with an R1 to the north property line here, and requires for a 20-foot setback that's in the abutting neighbor over there. So it's just a matter of modifying that setback slightly there. It may encroach on your parking area a little bit, just push it in 10 feet there to that corner possibly, just what you're gonna do in that one, to fix that point there. And that was it, really. Everything else looked good. Awaiting the DOT, obviously, which is always an issue with a lot of things. So I feel your pain. Yeah, we got a lot of things happening with them too. And yeah, with your, I see how you got your water going out, your drainage going out to the transit road there. But yeah, so they'll look at that, and you know, it takes time for them to decide what they want to do with it. So, and then seeker and that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's all involved with that little piece there. So hopefully, they'll get you that pretty soon. We work with Catherine Prudry too. I talked with her a little bit too. So yeah, it's interesting. But from what I saw there, I mean, I don't see a big issue. You know, your pre and post counts look good as far as what you're contributing to that system. So hopefully, it's just a little red tape to get through there, and they'll push you through it.
Fire, anything, chief?
You mentioned about some storage of RVs and boats and things. Do you have like a certain amount of number if you even do store any back there?
it would kind of be based off, even if I have space for people. It depends, like right now, I mean, if I didn't have, I mean, I'm pretty full
I know.
as it is. You know, I got some stuff from Yellow Freight, which is now bankrupt, that is gonna sit there until they get their, I don't know what it's gonna take. So I got some of their stuff sitting here. I mean, I might not even have space for people to store stuff. Right now, I've got a friend who's keeping 4 cars. He moved to Florida. He's got 4 cars sitting there until he can get them down there, that type of stuff. But it would basically be just if I have space, it's more for like family, friends, if they've got a
Okay,
need for
but not
stuff.
like a rental.
Yeah, I wouldn't have like 100 RVs or something back there, no. That's-
All right, thank you.
Okay, any public concerns or comments? This time a motion would be in order to accept the submittal as a concept only.
I, Member Matuzak, make a motion to make a recommendation to accept the submittal as a concept.
Is there a second?
Second it.
On a motion by Member Matuzak, seconded by Member Fedorovich to accept the submittal as a concept only. A roll call vote, please.
Member Agnew.
Aye.
Member Fedorovich.
Aye.
Member Morawski.
Yes.
Member Matuzak.
Yes.
And Chairman Maciejewski.
Yes. 5-4, motion is carried. So hopefully we can get that going, Nate. I know you were trying, but, so, thank you.
Thank you.
If you need anything specific, if the DOT needs anything specific from us on what we meant by concept approval, feel free to reach out.
You don't have to sit here for the rest of this.
Okay, the second item on the agenda is for the property located at 5460 Transit Road, Suite Number 3. Could we have the legal notice, please?
Please take notice that the Village of Depew Planning Board will hold a hearing on Thursday, October 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. A pre-board meeting begins at 6:30 p.m. in the conference room in the council chambers of the municipal building, 85 Manitow Street, Depew, New York, to consider the application for submission by Tim Mielko on behalf of Green Street Edibles, Inc., for the property located at 5460 Transit Road, Suite 3, Depew, New York 14043. The following matters to be reviewed. They are requesting the following: reuse renovation of existing commercial space for the purpose of manufacturing and assembly of food and beverage products, warehousing and storage service, and wholesale distribution facility under the regulations of M1 Light Industry District, Chapter 260, Subset 26028A1. The current zoning is C2, Shopping Center District. Any and all persons interested in such application will be heard at this time.
Thank you. Who's here representing the project? If you could come forward, state your name, your relationship to the project, and a overview, please.
Of course. Thank you very much. My name is Tom Spanos. For those of you who I haven't met before, I am a cannabis attorney who lives locally just here in Lancaster. Recently, your town attorney reached out to me to help sort out your local law with regards to cannabis businesses. So when we reached out to a commercial real estate agent and they said, oh, we have a location that is right here in Depew, we said, fantastic, because we happen to know everybody down at Depew, so it seems like a great place to be. So we, my friends and I, we have Ben Brisky and Mason Bucher, who are also here, who are a part of the business. All three of us are part of the ownership structure. Our fourth owner, majority owner, just had surgery for his gallbladder earlier this week, so he's not here today. But we started a chocolate business just about 2 years ago. We started conceptualizing this, hoping to take advantage of the new cannabis market that's opening up here in New York. And so we've been working on our recipes just at home and everything. And now we saw an opportunity, obviously, with Mr. Mielko here over on Transit Road. He has a commercial property. It has a retail face up on Transit Road, but at the back end of the property, he has suites 3 and 4 in his building, which are basically, I mean, from a layman's eyes, it looks just like a warehouse. It's just a big open room. So we entered into discussions with him. My misunderstanding, and apologies to everybody up front we were just confused because Antoinette's is also in a C2, and I had not put it together that they've been there forever, and that's how they're able to be in that zoning. So we were never looking for any kind of special treatment or anything like that. It was just a misunderstanding over what goes on in each of these zoning districts. So once that was sorted out to us by, thank you, Don, very much, we went about putting the proper paperwork in so that we could do this business in that spot that we have a lease for, that we have not taken possession of yet. But from our perspective, our hope is for absolutely nothing to change from outside of the building. All of the renovations are going to be going on inside the building. There'll just be a divider wall going between suites 3 and 4 because we're only taking suite 3. But I do believe both of those are on that back part of the parcel. I believe the property is actually 2 separate parcels. Right. So we would only be looking for this change at the rear part of the parcel where our suite actually is located. And as I said, there should not be any smells. There should not be any odors. There should not be anything leaving the business from what we're doing. In our chocolate creation process, we're not cooking anything to high temperatures. The highest it goes is about 140 degrees. We're also not going to be doing any type of cannabis processing or extraction at the facility itself. All we are doing is buying from another licensed processor the distillate that we would just be mixing in with our chocolate recipe. So from a practical standpoint, what's happening at our facility is going to be almost exactly the same as what's happening down the road at Antoinette's, but will be even smaller scale than they are. Our square footage is only 1,250 square feet for this small suite that we'll be renting. We have one specialized piece of equipment, and that is a tempering and pouring machine. Essentially, when our chocolate is ready, we can just put it into this machine. It keeps it at a good working temperature, so we can pour it directly into our molds at the right temperature. But that's the one particularly specialized piece of equipment that Tim would be putting in particular electrical for. Everything else that we're using in this facility is something you can plug into one of these outlets. So it's either a countertop type of device or a fridge or something like that. But there's not going to be any heavy industrial equipment or anything at this facility. So just a brief run through. I know Tim also would like to give a few remarks just with regards to the property, but I'll be right back up after him.
Just before,
Sure, please, by all means.
I know you answered the one question already about the emissions, because you are abutting a residential area, and I'm taking just from what you presented, there will be no noise.
Correct. There should be no noise from the outside of the building. One machine that we'll have that's running on a constant basis is called a melanger. It's a countertop device that it just grinds cocoa beans. So that'll be running on a 24-hour basis. You should not be able to hear it outside of the building at all. It's not a particularly large device. It's not a particularly loud device. It just runs constantly.
Okay, and any plans for any signage or lighting?
No. With New York's cannabis regulations, they want production to be completely separated for anything public facing. So we're not going to have any outward signs. People shouldn't even know that we're there. We're selling just boxes of chocolate to retail establishments that'll be carrying them in their stores. So at the worst, you'll have a van out front that we'll put product into, and that'll be that. There won't be any big trucks or anything like that.
Very good.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Again, if you could state your name for the record and your relationship to the project, please.
My name is Timothy Miyoko. I am CEO of 5460 Transit LLC. We acquired said property back in 2016. I think if any of you can all think back to 2016 when Jim Maas owned the property and the condition it was in at the time, you can get an idea of our vision for the property. We saw a lot of potential in the property. It was in really bad shape, inside and outside. Working through the building department with Tony and I think the other gentleman's name was Craig. We've made it over the years a substantial investment into the property. You can tell by looking at it. The building was cleaned out, gutted, repairs made to the structure itself, and then renovated. An enormous amount of time and money invested in the property. I sent pictures as a reminder to Kate this morning, kind of as a reminder of what the property used to look like, and you can see where we're going with the property. I just wanted to address a couple concerns that I heard raised in the other meeting here on the aesthetics of the building and the striping of the parking lot. The parking lot was striped this week. You can tell by looking.
Okay, I was there Monday. It wasn't done Mondays.
We just did it 2 days ago.
Okay.
And I noticed it made a tremendous improvement in the behavior of traffic coming in and out. People are now parking appropriately in their spaces, and they're not parking in the middle here or this way or that way. It's not as chaotic as it used to be. The dumpster issue, there was something mentioned about it needs to be enclosed.
Yes.
We have no objection to that. Anything that the town has concerning the property, we're more than willing to work with the town and address these issues, so we can take care of that as well too. If that's going to be a condition for the approval, that's not a problem.
Okay.
And we just painted the building again for the third time this week. We changed the color once again. I think we have a good theme down for it. It's nice and pleasant to look at. And the entire building was addressed, except for the north side, which we'll have to get into next year. We're running out of season. We haven't got today left out of good weather. And I think that's going to be changing real quickly here, so we're kind of being put to a stop here. Now we'll be focusing on, subject to approval from the town, the interior build out for Green Street edibles. Hopefully we can make that happen for them.
No, the property has really cleaned up from when Maz was there, absolutely. You were in the pre-meeting, the only question is that fenced-in area that faces
Oh, yes.
Bellevue.
Yeah, I meant to mention that. I'm sorry, I forgot that.
Yeah, if we can get that cleaned up a little bit. I mean,
Yeah,
there's
I
a
have
couple
this-
tow motors back
yeah,
there.
When we acquired the building, there's an enormous amount of junk inside. Some of it we just tossed in the back corner, parking lot, is gated out. And we put it in a corner there, and we haven't addressed it yet. But I can make it arrange that they can get done this year. I plan on cutting all those dumpsters up and taking them to my house and use them for bonfire wood, actually.
And I mean, again, this would be up to code enforcement, but that could be an area for your dumpster. It is fenced in, correct?
Yeah,
It is.
you put the dumpster in there because it's fenced in, it would be shielded from public view, or you could use that for whatever you're using it for presently and put in a separate dumpster enclosure. Part of the issue is though, depending where your dumpster is in an enclosure, where you're going to store your snow in the event of,
The snow currently is, since we don't have tenants right now in the back, we split it in the back, part of it, and most of it goes in the bulk in the very front, between our property and the motel, the Pink Motel. It gets thrown up in the front there because it's where all the grass area is.
okay. Just be aware that you can't block view of going out onto transit. Or do you have to have
Yes.
front entrance there? Or is it
No,
just
we
a-
do not. We just get First Boulevard side.
You just got to maintain that 30-foot triangle so that
Right.
anyone pulling up, it doesn't block their view, looking down Transit Road.
We informed the snow plowing company that we hired to address that. When they go to pound the snow, they can't put it 30 feet from the corner and more than so high, according to your directions there.
Okay.
So that's been addressed as well. The gate is only opened typically when we're coming in and out of the back area with our truck or the forklift to unload something or drop something off, whatever. Other than that, it's closed almost all the time. So there's really not that much of concern on that issue.
Yeah, because when I was there Monday, it was open. That's why I noticed.
Probably once
everything.
because we started painting the building and we're going in and out of the back.
Yeah. I mean, just a little housekeeping in that back lot. Those tow motors that are back there are operational?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's only one towed motor.
Okay.
Then there's a scissors left.
Okay. Okay, very good. Questions from the board members?
No here.
Nope.
Okay, legal. Sam?
I have a few questions for Mr. Spanos.
Sure.
Yes, sir.
Just want to draw on some of your cannabis knowledge. Is there any tax revenue that comes to the village from your sales for something like this?
On the production side, no. So there's a potency tax on producers, but actually, technically, we might not even be the ones paying that. It only gets paid during distribution. As the distributor sells to the retailer, that is where the 3 cents per milligram of THC in terms of edibles would be charged. So for something like a standard 100 milligram chocolate bar, for example, you'd be looking at about $3 in tax. But since all of that's kind of handled after we hand off our products, we technically at our stage don't generate any tax.
That makes sense. You'd be double dipping.
Right.
Security.
Yes.
So I think there's an episode of Shameless where they're working in legal dispensaries.
I'm
and
not
there's, like,
familiar. I apologize.
Armed robberies and things.
Sure.
And people keep trying to shake them down. Obviously, we're not in Chicago and this isn't television.
Right.
But are there any security measures that you have to do pursuant to the cannabis law? And is there anything you're doing above and beyond that?
Of course. And so from the cannabis law's perspective, on the production side, the biggest goals are avoiding any diversion of product, right? So making sure that you have sufficient security systems in place so that you can monitor all of your product. So for us, for example, we're going to have, the space is like a long rectangle. You guys should have a drawing of it in the packet that we submitted. So we're going to have 2 main rooms. The front room closest to the entrance that we have will be primarily for storage and office work. And then the larger central space will be for the actual production. We'll be required to have security security cameras in both of those rooms, so that the entire space can be seen at all times. We're also required to maintain that security footage for 60 days. So those records will be available in case there ever were any kind of break-in or anything. But from that security standpoint, how we're trying to avoid that happening in the first place is obviously that main door where we're entering is going to be locked, even when we're in there working in the facility, because on our end, we should never have anybody coming to see our space. You know, it's either us doing deliveries outward or us coming in to do the work. But when we're going to retailers, for example, we would be taking potential samples to their dispensaries. They would not be coming to our production facility. Similarly, for the reason why we don't want to have any signs or anything, we're not required not to have any signs. I mean, we've been to one of the largest producers up in Rochester. They have a huge facility with big signs and everything like that. We're not going to be doing any of that. Our goal is just to be a good neighbor, and the better way we can be a neighbor is for no one to know that we're there. Because just like you said, these products are high value, and therefore if people simply know that they are there, it becomes a target for robbery. So for us, it's primarily controlling access and then just making sure on the back end, if anything were to happen, that we have the resources to make sure that that product can get tracked down.
All right, thank you.
Good.
Anything else?
No, nothing for me.
Code enforcement, Don, Kate?
Nope, they filed for the necessary permits for the interior build-out already. They've done a good job cleaning up the building and stuff, and we appreciate that. Other than that, we're good as long as you approve it here tonight.
I have one question that's, judging from the security stuff that we did when Verbal IQ opened,
Right.
and I know they had to have exterior cameras, even during pickups and deliveries and drop-offs,
Sure.
and, you know, so everything can be seen at all times.
Okay.
Are you gonna have an outside camera system also, so that when you're, you know, whoever's purchasing your product, it can be seen from the time it leaves your business to the time it gets to their vehicle?
Absolutely.
I could probably address that.
Oh, sure, please, by all means.
The building has been wired for 17 cameras, 17 different locations, cameras that along the entire exterior of the building. So it's side pack, north, south, east, west. The installation of the devices will be done next week. We're just waiting for them to come in, get the current order, but everything else has been all wired, and it is essentially going to be secured, monitored, and that's that all.
Fantastic.
We're good?
That's it.
Okay. Engineering, Terry?
No, I think it's great. I think the building looks great. Nice job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Fire, chief, anything?
Nothing, other than, yes, thanks for taking care of that property. That was a mess a few years back.
Yeah. Sure. Looks nice.
Any public concerns and comments? This time, a motion would be in order to accept the submittal.
I, Member Matuzak, make a motion, make recommendation to the village board to accept the site plans as submitted.
Second? Motion by Member Matuzak, seconded by Member Morowski. Could we have a roll call vote, please?
Member Agnier.
Aye.
Member Fedorovich.
Aye.
Member Morowski.
Yes.
Member Matuzak.
Yes.
And Chairman Maciejewski.
Yes, 5-4, motion's carried. Good luck. I'm glad you chose Depew for your business.
Thank you very much.
you. Okay, our third item on the agenda tonight is for the property located at 4309 Broadway. Could we have the legal notice, please?
Please take notice that the Village of Depew Planning Board will hold a hearing on Thursday, October 5th, 2023 at 7 p.m. A pre-board meeting begins at 6:30 p.m. in the conference room in the council chambers of the municipal building, 85 Manitow Street, Depew, New York. To consider the application for submission by James Bodecker on behalf of NED Broadway 2 Solar Development for the property located at 4309 Broadway Street, Depew, New York, 14043. The following matters to be reviewed. They are requesting the following. Requesting a site plan review for installation of Phase 2 of the solar array ground-mounted solar energy system consisting of solar modules / panels, new electrical equipment, and necessary uses, including electrical lines, access roads, and concrete pads containing transformers. Any and all persons interested in such application will be heard at this time.
Hey, gentlemen, for the record, if you could just state your name and your relationship to the project and give us an overview, please.
My name is Peter Sorgi. I'm the project attorney.
Doug Faze, I'm the site civil engineer.
Can you just spell your last name for me?
F as in Frank, E-Y-E-S.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This project obviously is phase 2. Thankfully, we have phase 1 under construction. It looks like it's almost completed. We signed a lease with the village. So in the previous project, we purchased land from the village. For this one, we signed a lease with the village, a 25-year lease. That was done in November of 2022. The project itself is 12.35 acres. It's obviously an extension of the existing solar project. We are here for site plan review. A couple of things that are going to happen with this thing, besides the rent payments for the lease, which is $15,000 a year, there's also, this will be taxed. I think you just asked a question about taxes, so it spurred my mind. The village owns the property. There are no taxes on the property, obviously, but any increase, which will be assessed by a formula with the state about the energy production, so there's a tax benefit here for the village as well. And then the other part of this is that this is obviously a very old landfill. It was closed pre-DEC regulations, or I think there were some regulations, but it just basically said sprinkle some dirt on it and take off. And we all know there's been problems back there. So like we did with the first phase, what we'll be doing is we'll be taking down all the trees, because trees are not allowed on landfills, and we'll be grading it to an even grade and then putting 2 feet of topsoil on top. That is what DEC asked of us, and then we'll get their sign off on that. Also, just this week, I think on Friday, we got a message from DEC, since they're reviewing the plans also, that they wanted a 50-foot setback from the top of the bank of the creek. That has been provided. We resubmitted the plans to Don a couple days ago. So realistically, what we need in this, we already have the lease. Seeker is already done because this is a type 2 action pursuant to Seeker. And that was confirmed in a resolution on November 29th, 2022 by the village board. So we are asking for a site plan recommendation. And the only other 2 permits that we need are the DEC approval, which is under review for the change of end use of a landfill, and for the speedies permit, which has been submitted. We can answer any questions you may have.
Very good. So is anything different in the phase 2 construction part from phase 1?
No, it's identical construction panels. The access will come down here. We worked with Dave Britton quite a bit on the access lane here to make sure that the village still had access to the creek, which they do. And I think actually the 50-foot setback made a lot of sense as well, because that provides opportunity to do further work there. But it's essentially the same project being extended.
Okay, and I just want to reiterate something. When you came for phase 1 approval with that access road, we did require that will be maintained during the winter months, plowed, so that emergency vehicles can get back there if needed. We just wanted to reiterate that. Questions from the board?
No, I'll leave my question to the engineer.
Okay. Legal,
Nothing
Sam?
from us?
I don't have anything. I think we are all familiar with this project, and I've asked every question I might have had. I think the fire chief had some
Yeah, we'll go right down the line to him.
Yeah.
Nothing else, Sam? Code enforcement?
Just the access road, which will be addressed by fire chief, and then the issue with the setback, which will be addressed by engineering.
You know what, I did have something, and the fire chief may touch on this, but the application said snow removal is not applicable, but the access road has to stay clear.
Yeah.
Is there a plan for snow removal?
We'll certainly ask. I mean, Doug, just off the top of your head, do we have room for, or should what we called out?
Well, I mean, it could just be pushed off the side of the road. There's plenty of green space along the road.
Yeah, you should be able to just push it
Back
off.
down there.
Yeah.
Clear path.
Now I actually don't have any questions.
Okay, well, we will, I would suggest that snow removal be a condition of any final approval.
Yes, and that's just so, God forbid, we do have to get back with emergency vehicles that we can.
Yeah, and I know that's been in the news lately. I don't know if anybody's heard, but up north, I think in the St. Lawrence area, there was a pretty big fire at a solar facility, and that may be one of the concerns. That was used with older panels, which had an issue, and then it actually sparked into this battery center, which we don't have on this site. We don't have battery storage here, and caused quite a fire. Those were older defective panels that are no longer used anymore.
Before I go to engineering, when I was there the other day, I did notice, and we talked about it in the pre-meeting, there was a couple cameras up. So that area is being monitored?
I believe so. I think that may just be during construction, but I can ask, just because of equipment and things like that that's out there.
Okay. Engineering, Terry.
Yeah, I think I know both of you guys. That's Farmer Clark. Peter, I met you before, and I think I met you once or twice, maybe also. So we were a little bit concerned, talking with Dave Britton a little bit about the 50-foot setback there. And I know on the plans that you had drawn from the edge of the panel to the top of the bank there, pretty much verifying that you're over 50 feet. But I think the problem is to get access to the backside of this fence area here, to get to those monitoring wells, and then also for fire access also back in here. And also to service the creek if there was an issue, they had built some more, gabion walls or something back in there with some of the reinforcement of the creek bed or something like that. And I walked there today myself just to go back and look at some of the roads that do come back here, some of the dirt roads back in here. I know the plans don't reflect that at all where they are back here. So the question is, if we use this top and bank for the offset, can we put the driveway back in here someplace to get access to this facility, to get around this facility for access for creek and maintenance and things like that? I know there's a lot of trees back in there, but I know there's a wide space back in there. There's like a 12-foot, 14-foot wide made path, like a stone path that's down by the creek. Like there's two ledges that the creek bank comes up, then it goes flat, and then it goes up again. So it's like the bank's like in a weird spot here and there. So I think we thought that it needs to be topoed better to figure out where exactly a road may be able to be incorporated into this plan here.
So is there, I've been back there 4 or 5 times, but I'm trying to picture, is there a road, there's no actual road here, it's just kind of paths?
Well, you know where that area right here is, there's like a parking lot gravel area there, and there's like a road that comes off of it that comes down into here. It's not defined, but you can tell it's drivable, you can get down, it goes right down to like a path that's along in here. That kind of goes all the way along here. It's probably only 14 feet wide maybe, that comes around here, but I have no way of judging where that even is on here to locate that. The DEC does have some monitoring wells that I came across. I did see those along the trail down in there. But I know this comes back here, and then this comes around here, and you can get back to this point about here, and that stops. So this trail comes in the middle here, kind of comes to the back side of both of these out this way. But there's no way to see where this really is on here to really project how we can make some kind of an access drive through here to come around. So I think we thought it needs to be a little bit more topo done here, maybe establish where the actual, edge of the creek is there, and then where these banks come up here a little bit clearer here with those roads that are in here. Either someone wants the GPS unit on their back just to locate them.
I think most of those roads are gonna be wiped out with the grading.
The top one is, yeah. The ones that are up in here, they are, but there is one that follows closer down by this bank here. I believe the top of this bank here is there. So that may be the area where you'll be able to find this path here to clear it better here, to maybe make that better access.
So we can't determine right now if there's
No.
enough room here to put something in?
I don't know, because I have no way of knowing where this fence, and we thought maybe stake out at least a fence line where you know where that fence line is down there, and you can come off that fence and know exactly how far you're coming into this area down here.
So
If you
stake
hit
out where the
those.
fence would be,
Yeah. And then walk in there and try and figure out exactly where this existing trail's down in here, and try and clear that up a little bit there.
Looks like another site visit out there. We'll probably do it before the weather.
Yeah, let's do it before the weather
Yeah,
changes.
don't wear a suit. You wear a suit once, Sam?
I did.
So it's definitely gonna be a tricky little area to get in there, I think. There are some trees back in there and stuff. And again, I think you had mentioned you want at least 24 feet probably for fire trucks and
Yeah.
the weight of the trucks back there.
So you want 24-foot access road
I-
all along here?
I don't know if you'll need to have what size truck you have to get back in there for, I mean, these
Well,
are.
I mean,
very-
25 foot is good. Our trucks are just under 9 foot wide, and if we got anything that came off the truck and is sitting next to the truck, and we gotta get another truck around them, and things like that, and 25 foot is good. Maybe not to go all the way, but can I borrow this for
Yeah,
a
sure.
second here, sorry?
One of your DEC's gonna allow.
Yeah, we've got to be, I was about to interject there. That is an area that,
Yeah.
that was the hot area. I mean, we're talking about $500,000 of remediation almost.
Right.
And we
So-
don't want to then disturb
You're
that.
limited to what you.
Is there a way to go up and in maybe?
DEC's happy now, we don't wanna.
Yeah.
I know if you push it up this way, something, you're pushing all you're gonna lose some of your arrays probably. If you start pushing that way, that gets into that's not being feasible anymore to start pushing too far on this, up in that area.
About width in between the panels, there's those two arrays. Widen those a little bit so you can get in the middle. I don't know if that gives you what you need, John.
Yeah, I mean, if you lived in the Buffalo area, you know the weather patterns come off the lake and come right across. So if there was ever a fire, our trucks are way over there, we're into smoke the whole time. So sometimes being on the near side is a little bit better. But even if there is some kind of access from this side of the property to get partway in, would be more acceptable. 'Cause if something ever happens in this general area here, we can be on this side, not trying to.
How are we accessing the solar array? How is that handled on the first phase?
That I'm not sure. I don't
I think
have-
there's a road right in between. It's right all
Yeah.
the way up.
Right.
I think where you can see that little road where the curb cut is right off of Broadway, I think that continues in.
We're gonna have
Okay.
to, basically, we're gonna have to take this plan and add the other plan, have a total
Right,
site plan,
just
and
really
see
see
the
it.
whole site.
Right.
I mean, is it gonna become are they gonna have both fences here still? They're gonna have one just giant fence eventually connecting all up here? Or is it two separate facilities here per se, in between there? I see there's a fence here.
I think it's gonna be.
There's a gate there, it looks like, that comes. But
Well,
they're not gonna,
separate from
they won't join each other though, fence wise.
Yeah.
Okay.
We can find that out. So I think what we should do is, we should probably put together the full plan and maybe sit down with the two of you and anyone else that wants to. Just to try to hammer out something that works for everyone.
Yeah.
But, part of me is saying, will the DEC allow a road that close to the creek? Do we want to ask them? Because, first of all, you said there's trees there, there's not supposed to be trees there.
It'd be a permitting thing again, they have to study that and make sure, and there are trees down in there and stuff like that.
When you did the work, so, when you did the work at the creek, I guess it wasn't an issue getting access?
Well, they had access because they had this parking lots here, and they were able to, there are some roads that do go down in here that got to those points. So, I mean, they're overgrown right now, because it was a couple years ago they did it all, but they got down there though with those, some trucks and stuff like that. But, depending where this fence line is, and this buffer zone, they want this 50-foot offset here, on top of the bank. And it looks like, did you guys actually go out there and establish this? Is this like really, is this correct where this is, you think?
Yes.
Or it is? Okay.
Yeah, it was a break.
It looks like it kind of follows the contrast pretty good there, so I'm thinking it's pretty decent there. But yeah, I think if we actually at least locate the fence and where these existing, towards the quasi roads are in here right now, we can maybe work with something like that first to see where they are. Would help us get a better plan here.
So let's take the other one that's already approved, and just have one big plan, and then maybe we could sit down next week to see what makes sense, and then see how we approach the DEC.
Chief, you got anything else?
Yeah, and the weight for the road, the spec 75,000, that's hopefully that's still
Yeah, we have,
kind of a weight rating for the access road. Sit out there somewhere.
There's the Stone Access Road.
engines.
Yeah, our engines are over 20 ton, and then our ladder truck is even more than that. I thought I seen 75,000 pounds there somewhere.
I'm assuming it's 75,000 because if you pass one truck with another, you would be loading that area with.
Yeah,
under 75,000 pounds.
So just don't want to have no apparatus stuck back there and things like that. And then my other thing was training. I think Sam had worked it out with you guys for some training for our members. We're still good with that.
Yeah, we agreed to that for the first project.
Yeah.
Has that happened yet, or?
No,
No,
we're
I-
having trouble locating some training, so.
Some training.
Yeah, that's, of course.
So, if your vendors that you deal with has a program, I can give you my card and stuff. We can exchange numbers.
Great.
Some manufacturers have their own training programs that are for their certain products. And
Chief, anything else?
And then how much voltage is through any one line? How is that going to be transferred on site from DC to AC? Or?
There are transformers on site. That's all that stuff's done by a different firm, but what was the megawatt?
3.45 megawatt DC is the project.
Chief, anything else?
No, that's it for now.
Any public concerns, comments? At this time, a motion will be in order to accept the submittal with stipulation that the roadway be maintained for snow removal and the additional access roads be approved by the fire chief, engineer, and code enforcement.
Oh, great. Right.
I, Art Egner, make a motion to recommend to the village board to accept the program with conditions from the engineering and the fire department.
And the road will be maintained in the winter for snow.
And the road will be maintained in the winter.
Is there a second?
I second.
A motion by member Igner, second by member Matuzak. We have a roll call vote, please.
Member Agnew.
Aye.
Member Fedorovich. Member Morawski.
All right.
Member Matuzak.
Yes.
And Chairman Maciejewski.
Yes, 5-4, motion's carried. Thank you, gentlemen, and
Thank you
good
so
luck.
much. Thank you.
Thank you.
With that, a motion is in order to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion by member Igner, second by member Matuzak. Meeting is adjourned at 7:50 PM. All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you, everyone.